Disclaimer: this content is only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. I never thought one night could change everything. You know, as women, we often make choices thinking they'll bring us closer, not realizing they might pull someone away. That night, I let my husband go. Just for a night. No drama, no questions. He said he needed space. A little break. I trusted him after all. Trust is the foundation of marriage, right? But I didn't know that one night would become a mirror, reflecting everything we had, everything we lacked, and everything I feared deep down. It wasn't a fight that made me agree. It wasn't distance or boredom. It was love. The kind of love where you think giving someone freedom is proof of loyalty. He had been acting strange for weeks, more distant, quieter, like his thoughts were somewhere else. Or with someone else. I gave him a smile, a kiss on the cheek, and said, "Go clear your head." He did. But he didn't come back the same. I could feel it the moment he walked back in. He smelled different. Like her perfume had clung to his skin. His eyes didn't meet mine the way they used to. And when I asked how the night was, he said, it was what I needed. Just that. No details. No guilt. Just peace. Like whatever he found in that night was something he had been longing for. Now here we are. Days have passed. His home, but not with me. His mind is somewhere else. And when I finally asked him, softly, "Are you still mine?" he didn't lie. He didn't shout. He didn't cry. He just looked at me and whispered, "She understands me." My heart sank. All these years, and now there's someone else who understands him? This story is not about betrayal in the traditional sense. It's about the quiet spaces in a marriage. The ones we ignore, thinking love will fill them automatically. It's about how two people can sleep in the same bed and still feel 1,000 miles apart. And how sometimes, letting go even for a single night opens a door that you never meant to leave unlocked. But what if that night wasn't the end? What if it was the beginning of something unexpected? Maybe he went looking for something he thought he lost, but what if he finds that he still needs me, just in a different way? Or maybe, I need to discover who I am without him. Before we continue, I want to ask you something. Have you ever let someone go, just to test the strength of your bond? Have you ever trusted someone enough to risk losing them? Comment below and tell me, is love about holding on, or letting go? Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to follow this emotional journey. Part 2 is coming soon, and trust me, you don't want to miss what happens when he's faced with a choice that could change all three of our lives forever. He wasn't always like this. In fact, when we first met, he was the kind of man who made me feel like I was the only woman in the world. Long walks, small surprises, soft kisses on the forehead that made me forget everything else. He used to listen not just to my words, but to my silences too. We built our life on quiet dreams and shared coffee cups. I knew his routines like the back of my hand. I thought I knew his heart too. That's what makes this so confusing, so painful. When did things start changing? Maybe it was the little things. The way he started checking his phone more. The way he laughed less at my jokes. The way his hugs didn't feel like home anymore. But I kept brushing it off, thinking marriage has its phases. Maybe we were just in a rough patch. We all have those, don't we? You don't walk away from someone just because things get hard. That's what I believed. That's why I let him go that night. I thought space would heal us. But now, it feels like space created a crack. A space that someone else quietly walked into. A friendly woman, he called her. Someone he met at work. Said she was easy to talk to, had a calming energy. I didn't question it at first. Why would I? I never wanted to be the insecure wife who monitors every conversation. But looking back, maybe I should have seen it. The way he mentioned her name too casually. The way he smiled while talking about her, even when he didn't smile that way with me anymore. Now that he's back, I'm noticing things I can't ignore. He's different. Kinder, somehow, but distant. Like he feels sorry for me. Like he knows he's holding a secret behind his eyes. And the worst part? He hasn't said he's leaving. He's still here, sharing a bed with me, eating dinner with me. But his mind, it's somewhere else. Maybe with her. Maybe with the version of himself he found that night. Is love strong enough to pull someone back when they've already tasted something new? Or is it true that once a heart wanders, it never fully returns? Before you go, tell me in the comments, can a marriage survive this kind of emotional distance? Do second chances really work? I tried to act normal the next morning. Made his coffee just the way he liked it, 2 sugars, no milk. Placed the cup quietly on the table while he sat scrolling through his phone. He mumbled a thank you, but his eyes didn't lift. That's when I realized, he wasn't just distracted. He was somewhere else entirely. Or with someone else, at least in his mind. I watched him stir his coffee and wondered, was she the one on his screen now? Was she the reason he couldn't look at me? I didn't ask. I wasn't ready for the answer. Later that day, I met an old friend for lunch. She noticed right away that something was off. You look tired, she said. I laughed it off, but inside I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell her everything. But how do you explain that your husband might be emotionally in love with someone else, without even saying a word? Instead, I told her we were just going through a phase. She nodded, but her eyes said she didn't believe me. Maybe because I didn't believe it either. That night, I found one of his shirts in the laundry, one I hadn't seen in a while. It smelled faintly of a perfume I didn't wear. My hands froze. I held it close, then pushed it away like it burned. I didn't confront him. I didn't throw it in his face. I folded it neatly and placed it back in his drawer. Because sometimes silence speaks louder than questions. What hurt more wasn't the idea that he might have been with her. It was the thought that maybe he felt something with her he no longer felt with me. Comfort. Excitement. Ease. I kept thinking about that. About the way he used to reach for my hand without thinking. Now, even our touches felt careful. Controlled. Like he didn't want to give me the wrong idea. And yet, there were moments. Tiny, fleeting moments where I caught him looking at me when he thought I wasn't watching. A softness in his eyes that made me question everything. Was he torn? Was there still a part of him that missed what we had? Or was he just feeling guilty, stuck between 2 lives? In the middle of this storm, another twist appeared. A message popped up on my phone. An unknown number. Just a few words, you don't know everything. Ask him about the lake. My heart dropped. I stared at the message, fingers trembling. The lake. We hadn't been there in years. It was our special place once, before life got too busy. Why would someone mention it now? Should I ask him? Should I even want to know? Tell me in the comments, what would you do if you were in my place? Would you confront him, or wait for the truth to reveal itself? I didn't sleep that night. I kept staring at the message on my phone, reading those 5 words over and over again. You don't know everything. Ask him about the lake. The lake used to be our escape from the world, a quiet place where time slowed down. It was where he first told me he loved me. Where we made promises under the stars. Now, it had turned into some kind of clue. A key to a truth I wasn't sure I was ready for. The next morning, I tried to act normal again. But every time I looked at him, I felt like I was seeing a stranger. His movements were calm, almost too careful. He was hiding something, I could feel it in my bones. And now, there was someone else who knew. Someone watching us, maybe closer than I realized. I finally gathered the courage to ask. When was the last time you went to the lake? He froze. Just for a second. But it was enough. That flicker in his eyes gave it away. Why are you asking that now? He said, trying to sound casual. I didn't answer. I just watched him, silently, waiting for a crack in his voice, a change in his expression. Instead, he walked away. That afternoon, I drove to the lake myself. Alone. I parked in the same old spot, under the big oak tree. The wind was cold, the air heavy with memories. I walked along the shore, hoping to find peace, or maybe answers. That's when I saw it, tire tracks, fresh ones. Someone had been here recently. And not just anyone. I spotted a scarf tangled on a branch nearby. It wasn't mine. But I recognized the pattern. I'd seen it once, draped around the neck of that friendly woman in a photo he showed me months ago. I picked it up, heart pounding, as if it were proof I never wanted. Suddenly, I wasn't alone. I heard the sound of footsteps behind me. Slow. Measured. I turned around quickly, phone tight in my grip, breath caught in my throat. But it wasn't him. So then who was it? Let me know in the comments, who do you think showed up at the lake? Was it her? Someone else entirely? And what do you think she's hiding? The figure walking toward me from across the trees wasn't who I expected. It wasn't my husband, and it wasn't her. It was a man, maybe in his early 40s, wearing a dark jacket and holding something in his hand. I stayed still, unsure whether to call out or run. As he got closer, I could see he wasn't threatening. In fact, he looked concerned. Like he'd been looking for someone. For me. "You're his wife, aren't you?" he asked gently. My heart skipped. I nodded slowly, confused and anxious. He handed me a folded piece of paper, his eyes scanning mine with quiet urgency. He left this the last time he was here. I didn't know who it was for, but now I think I do. My fingers trembled as I opened it. The handwriting was unmistakably his. It wasn't a letter, it was more like a journal entry. A confession. In it, he spoke about feeling lost. About guilt. About wanting to choose between love and peace. About her. And about me. But then there was something else, a part one hadn't expected. He mentioned a baby. Not ours. Hers. The paper nearly slipped from my hands. Suddenly, everything I feared started to shift. This wasn't just about an emotional connection. This wasn't just about one night or a temporary lapse. There was more at stake now. Something irreversible. A life. A future. Maybe a secret he had been too afraid to share. The man, still standing nearby, seemed to notice the shift in my expression. "He comes here often," he said. "Sits by the water for hours. Says he's trying to make peace with a choice he can't undo." I swallowed hard. I wanted to scream. To cry. But all I could do was thank him softly and walk back toward my car, the wind stealing my breath. As I drove home, the silence in the car felt louder than ever. The paper lay on the passenger seat, like a bomb waiting to go off. Was he planning to tell me? Or was this going to be another truth I had to find out on my own? When I reached the house, he was there, waiting. His eyes met mine instantly. And for the first time in weeks, I saw something raw in him, fear, maybe. Or shame. But before I could speak, before I could ask a single question, he stepped closer and whispered, "You went to the lake, didn't you?" I didn't answer. I just looked at him and waited. Because now, I wasn't just a wife. I was someone holding a truth too heavy to ignore. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think is hiding now? And do you believe love can survive something this deep? He didn't answer right away. Just stared at the paper like it held a piece of the past he wasn't ready to face. I waited, holding my breath, watching every shift in his expression. Finally, he whispered, "That date. It was the day you told me you were late." I blinked. The memory hit me like a wave. I had been a few days late, and I mentioned it casually, almost playfully. I didn't think much of it. But he remembered. He remembered enough to write it down, afraid, maybe even hopeful. And the name, my name, it wasn't a confession. It was a prayer. He thought we were going to have a baby too. He looked up at me, voice shaking. I was waiting for that second line to show up. I kept thinking maybe it would fix everything. Maybe it would remind us what we were still fighting for. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just about betrayal or mistakes. It was about two people drifting so far apart they both started searching for meaning in silence. He clung to a mistake. I clung to a version of us that had already started fading. We both had secrets. We both were hurting. I sat down on the steps, exhausted. He joined me without saying a word. We stared out into the night like two strangers trying to remember who they used to be. I don't know how long we sat there. But when he reached for my hand, I didn't pull away. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But it was something. In the weeks that followed, we didn't pretend things were okay. We talked. We cried. We even laughed at the awkwardness of starting over while carrying so much weight. I met the woman, yes, her. It wasn't easy. But it gave me closure. She didn't break us. We broke ourselves long before she came along. Healing isn't fast. And it isn't clean. But it's real when both people are willing to fight not for the past, but for what comes next. So here we are now. Not perfect. Not fully healed. But honest. And sometimes, that's enough. Comment below, do you believe love can survive betrayal? And would you have stayed?